Yay, we're recording. Okay, guys, we are all set to get started. I am super excited, as usual, about our Tuesday call. If you guys aren't familiar with this call, every single week at 12 noon Eastern, I interview a different 200K in the company. I've been doing it since the beginning of January, and I love this call because we get to hear how different people grew to 200K. We get to hear their story, their background, and I love it because it just gives me so much like motivation to just get started and run with my week. And I am super excited today because I have Janel Fuchs on, and I'm saying your last name right. Janel, you probably have to unmute yourself.
I am unmuted.
Yay!
Can
And
you
I
hear
said
me?
your last, and I didn't mess up your last name, Fuchs, right?
Correct.
I had to make sure I was saying her last name right before we started the Zoom, y'all, because if you see how it's spelled, it's she's probably had a hard life.
I married into it too. Had an easy last name before.
Right. You're like, can I just keep my maiden name? No, just kidding. That's so funny. I am super excited to have you on today because I don't know your story, and I can't wait to just hear a little bit about your journey with Thrive and even like what you did before Thrive. And that's kind of where I wanted to start. Like what were you doing before network marketing? And then did you do any other kind of network marketing besides Lavelle? And then how did you find Lavelle? And then we'll kind of go from there.
Okay. So hi, everybody. Really excited to be on here. It's the first time Lisa and I've actually gotten to meet each other. I'm guessing we were on some chat groups, but tomorrow will be 5.5 years for me from when I started. And my background is I have like 30 some years in finance. I was a bank VP. I own my own insurance agency right before this. I have about 10 years. No, I'm 11 years with that. So residual income was always something that was important to me. But at the time that I was introduced to Lavelle, I actually had done a few other network marketing businesses just because I was like one of those people that, somebody would think of when they ran across a business and would want to approach and say, hey, you've done well with sales. You've got good relationships. What do you think of this? And, it was always about, if I like the product, absolutely. What do I have to lose to join a company and get that distributor price or promoter price? And I'm not going to name the other company, but probably, I think in 2005, I had joined another company and I had reached the almost second from the top highest rank and had earned a car, had a Mercedes with them. And so I wasn't new to this, but I got burnt out on that particular company because I joined it because I wanted to spend more time with my kids. But all of a sudden the shift with that company was to go out and do kind of parties. It was skincare, some vitamins, not as much focus. And that was like, okay, I'm gone at night. Really wasn't building it from my phone, having to peddle some products, and my heart wasn't in it anymore. And I'm going to elaborate a little bit when I earned my car with that company. When we hit that rank and you helped somebody else hit that rank, and I had a couple other car earners underneath me that I helped. As soon as they earned that car, they broke away from me and I only got a percentage of their sales. So those of you who are on the call and don't understand how incredible our actual rewards plan is, that we don't have that breakaway, it's incredible. I was only able to pull about 10,000 of their sales instead of, it took us 40,000 to get to the car in that particular company. And I had achieved that. And I lost that rank and I lost my zest. And I really wasn't interested in finding or doing another network marketing company when Lavelle came into my hands. So if you have people who say no to you for the longest time, it is when the season's right and when things happen in your life that make you more open to it, that was me. So Lisa,
did somebody approach you or did you approach them? Did you see it on Facebook? How did you get involved with it?
Okay, so I have kind of my story is, I was in such a dark place about 5.5 years ago. My daughter is a cancer survivor. She was 20 years old, and the aftermath of the cancer had destroyed her gut. And we were having some huge issues. She was in remission, but we were having some huge issues where she wasn't absorbing nutrients, and she wasn't gaining weight, and she wasn't sleeping, and she was going into this huge depression mode. And we had to withdraw her from school. She was 20 years old at the time. And I was really fearful of her immune system, what was going to happen. She was just going to be acidic and open to these cancer cells wreaking havoc. And so I had actually just returned from a facility in the cities, having a bunch of her labs checked by a renowned facility that sent them everywhere to check hormones and check if, what she was deficient in. And she was deficient in everything. So literally the day I'd gotten back from that, I was diving into the internet to find a good supplement. That's how that happened. And my friend from years ago who had done the other company with me, Wendy Gendrew, had actually put a post out that this product addressed digestive issues, which was with my daughter's in 3 steps. She felt like Wendy had felt like she'd gotten her life back. And I dialed her number immediately and said, do you have any samples? I need to get this in her hands. So that's what happened. So I was zero interest in the promoter side. It was all about the product. And I did get that product in my hand in about 2 days. She was actually coming to my town. I bought everything that she had on her shelf and got it in my hands. At that time, Lisa, how long have you been a promoter?
I just celebrated my 3-year anniversary, October 15th.
Okay. So when I started at that time, we had 3 products. We had just the vanilla shake and, the lifestyle mix. We did at the DFT because that launched, of course, in 2014. I think the DFT had just launched. Anyway, so the directions that I had were really vague, and I didn't pay attention like a lot of people, and I took it all. And I, luckily enough, felt amazing. I felt like this fog lifted off of me, and I was 50 years old at the time. I had started to have some belly bloat around the middle. There was a lot of stress in my life. And for the first time that day, I felt like, wow, I've got energy through the roof. I felt focused to do my job. I had a very stressful job with insurance. I was a high-level producer, had a ton of accounts. I had won a lot of awards, had a lot of expectations. But anyway, I got that product in my hand, and it was amazing. And so I wanted to get it in my daughter's hand. But guys, my daughter was actually in a medical facility in New Mexico when I got it in my hand. And so I just kept taking it. And a month in, I had this huge transformation. So when she got back from the medical facility, she was like, wow, Mom, what have you been doing? And she started her journey with the products. I did start as a promoter after I did that sample though. So I did click the promoter switch, not because I thought I was going to build a business, but because I knew I wanted it in my daughter's hands. I wasn't giving it up, and I was going to get this product for free for my husband and for my son. So I did enter the VIPs and hit both of those in 1 week's time. That's all I had left. I only had a week to hit it, guys, because I was in New Mexico in the mountains and couldn't do it. And I just reached out to a few of my friends via Messenger at that time and said, listen, I know you're my age. I know these are things that you suffer with. Would you be interested in sampling? At that time, I did have a lot of people sample. Or would you be interested? Would you trust me that this has been a game changer for me, and this is what's happened to me in a month's time? And I hit my bonuses. I hit both bonuses at that time. And then I did order the 800 pack and thought, well, I want this product. I want to get those discounts, and I want to be paid at the 200K promotional so I can make the most of it. And I did sign my husband up underneath me and worked for those bonuses for him. And we hit those too. And then my salon, my hairstylist owned a salon, and I had reached out to her, and she had immediate results, and people were commenting about her DFT. So she actually started promoting. And we, as a team, I hit 4K in about 3 weeks, and I hit 12K in 6.5 weeks and I'd earned my car, but still couldn't believe that that was even real. Like, where was the bottom going to drop out? Did you want me to keep going, or do you have
So
some questions?
yeah, so kind of give me your like the gaps in between. You got 12K in about 6.5 weeks. Then how long did it take to get to 40, then 80, then 200?
Okay. So at that time, I got 12K in about 6.5 weeks, which was the end of June, right about there. So I continued to do the business, but I'm going to tell you, I did nothing on Facebook. I really couldn't. My insurance, although I was self-employed, I still was responsible to a regional manager and such, and everything that was happening with my daughter, my business, I wasn't as productive. And guys, they were not supportive. I had given them everything, and corporate America failed me at that time in my life. And I had a bitter taste in my mouth about it. So, I was every day that I got more energized with this, I was more open to the idea of really kicking in this promoting stuff. So I had only done it hobby-like. So I was getting hobby results. I mean, pretty good checks at 12K, earning my car bonus. I didn't buy the car, didn't buy into that, took the cash bonus to see what would happen. Nothing like this grew in my other business that I had. I've always achieved and always have done well if I've set my mind to it. But we were at about 22.2 in sales the beginning of September. And so I had started in May, it was beginning of September, and I was going out to all the schools with my business because it was the busy time. We had enrollments, and I had told myself, because I was seeing some of the other leaders hit 40K and hit 80K that had started close to the same time as I had, but they were putting their all into it. They weren't treating it like a business. They were following the system. I wasn't. I was sharing here and there. I had a pretty good network, so I was relying on that, but I wasn't public. I was undercover, so to speak. So in September, I had made up my mind that by the end of September, when everything slowed down, I was going to give my business 30 days of focus, 30 days of treating it like a business, treating it like I treated everything else in my life when I delved into my career and my insurance business. And I had that mindset shift. And we hit 40K in the middle of October. And I hit, my sales were 88.8 by the end of October. I had almost quadrupled my income by treating it like a business because I found one person that I dove into that had a pretty good connection, and it took off. It completely took off for me. And so I always tell people, when they say, well, how long did it take you to get to the 200K mark? I said, well, when I took it serious, it took me 5 months. But it was about a 9-month journey because we hit 200K the end of February 2015, and I had started May 6, 2014. So that was the shift, the mindset.
Right. What's crazy too is you had 2 products when you first started.
Yes.
And it's so crazy because people, now we have so much more, and you had 2 products to work with, and that got you to 200K. It just blows my mind. It does. And you were selling those 150 systems left and right, 150 for the Thrive experience. So, and the other thing that I love that you kind of pointed out too was that it didn't take 50 people to change your business. You found a runner. You poured it, like you found that one person. And it really is. When I tell people that, I'm like, you are looking for that one you. And once you find them, you get to that next step. And then you find one more, and it can take you so far. You're not looking for thousands of people. You're just looking for that one person that gets it, and things can go so fast. And also when you said you treated it like a business, if you treat it like a business, what can happen in a month is outrageous. I've watched people sit for 2 years and do nothing, and suddenly they see it, they need it, things change, the mindset, exactly. And in 1 month, they fly to 40 or 80K. It's crazy. And it really is that mindset shift. When you look back at that time, when you say you treated it like a business, can you remember what did you do that month to were you on three-way calls? Were you like, what were you doing?
Well, you know what I did? I had our first local. Amazing what happened. I was, there is really kind of a funny story. It's kind of I cannot, when I look back, I mean, I can believe I did it, but we giggle about it. So the gal that I actually was the turning point in my business was my son's English teacher. She'd never done direct sales before, but she had this fabulous personality. And she interested me because I knew that she was looking for something to lose some weight. And I was actually called upon her for my other business. She made a comment about, can you sell me something cosmetically so I can cut this stomach fat out? And I said, well, I actually have something that might help you, but we're going to do that behind the scenes. Can I get in touch with you? So she was going to actually tutor my son for his ACT. And I paid her in product. I was like, you know what? I want to thank you for doing this. I think this might be something that will address what you asked me about. Would you be interested in starting this? Well, she was really honestly being polite, but I didn't give up and I followed up a lot. So I was really looking for people who would consider joining me in the business at this time, and not just about the product, but of course we lead with the product. So that was the shift. Having the local and shifting about, you know what, why have I been so quiet about what this business could do for people? This is amazing. And you guys, with these bonuses right now that are out there and these re-ranks, I mean, I would have hit almost all those ranks and all those bonuses, and I would have kicked it in higher gear if I would have realized all that money was on the line. But the gal, I had invited her to that local, and she acted like she was going to go, just like everybody has that happen to them. And she gave me that excuse that day that, oh, my husband can't get out of work. He worked in the oil field. He won't be home. I would have really have loved to come. And I said, oh, no problem. I'll send my daughter down to watch your kids. She's certified. She's like a nanny. I'll pick you up. I'll send my daughter down and then you can go. And that's honestly what happened. So she was like dumbfounded, didn't know how to say no to me. And I took her to that event, and she sat at that event and we talked about the business side. And I thought she was completely bored with it because she was on her phone so much. Well, what she was doing was she was sending a few messages to some people in her home state of Kentucky saying, have you ever heard of this? This sounds really incredible. And I actually did just start it a couple days ago and feel pretty great. That was the start of it. And the next day she said, I'm in. And I worked with her really heavy. I dove in, and that was the start of her business. She hit all of her ranks, all of her bonus. She hit her car bonus in 18 days. So she was my runner. She'd never done anything like this before.
I love when we talk about people's professions too, like teacher, you had a hairdresser, you were a banker, like, you were in financing. And I think that it's so important to mention those things, because who in our life does those things? I mean, when I look at the best promoters on my team, they were either waiters or waitresses, hairdressers, in real estate, or teachers. Like, you know what I mean? They were in these fields, or beauty, like a hairdresser. So who in your life have you guys not talked to about this yet or approached yet? And I love how, you went that extra step. You're like, look, I'll find you a babysitter. Like people will, it's hard for people to say no once you've figured out a way around their excuse. They're running out of reasons, right? They're running out of things. So they're like, okay, I guess I'm coming. And it truly is getting people in a room like that and hearing a couple stories that can change everything. I mean, it can shift somebody's mindset so hugely. And in the beginning, I'm sure, I mean, it was a lot harder. Because I know 5 years ago, they didn't have Facebook Live.
Oh my gosh. We didn't know what we were doing, guys.
So much harder.
We did it. But the product was incredible, and that was the driving force behind it. And so the passion in ignorance on fire, there's something very real with that. You don't need to be a salesman, but you need to be passionate and genuine. And when they know you care, that's the difference. I teach my team that all the time. You have to make them feel like you care about what their experience is, and that's not what's in it for you. And teach. That's why teachers are great. People who are in service industries get that. And she was super coachable. And, people ask, what's the number one thing? Why do you think she went to the ranks so fast? I said, because she trusted me, and she was completely coachable. And she said, what did you do? Help me. And we worked together, and we locked arms, and she did everything I asked, and it blew up. And all of you have that same opportunity, especially with the inception of all these different products that we have that might be what will grab somebody,
Right. And you've been in almost since the beginning, really. I mean,
Yes.
starting out with just 2 products. In like 5.5 years time, a lot can happen in a business. And I mean, I think sometimes people look at success and go, oh, wow, she went 200K so quickly and it's just been smooth sailing. And there's so much in the background. I mean, there's so many things that go on. There's disappointments, there's struggles, there's, you lose legs, you lose people that you invest in, you fall into management mode. I mean, there's just so many things that we do that we have to catch ourselves and pull ourselves out of holes. We really do fall in them. It's not just smooth sailing. In fact, I think the real work really starts at 200K.
Oh, yes.
Because,
100%.
right? Absolutely.
Yes.
So when you think back over the last 5 years, are there certain struggles that stick out to you that you really had to work through?
Well, when you're a leader, you've got to keep that great attitude, and you have people on your team that maybe have never done this before. And this is a simple business, but it's not easy. And of course, I was quite a bit more resilient because I had done sales before and I had been in management. So that did help me to understand that, everybody ticks a little bit different, and what's going to move somebody might not move that next person, and the people that aren't resilient to the nose. So the thing that sticks out to me most is I do tell people you have to really lock arms in those first 2 weeks and longer to, get people through those no's. Let them know it's all the rite of passage, right? You're not going to get anywhere where you want to get without, failing in some aspects of it. And, the mindset, that's what's going to get you through it. So when we all preach so hard that, please listen, dial into some of these things, because this is going to get you there. Because we've got the products, we've got everything. Why do some succeed and why don't? They're resilient, and they get back on the horse when things aren't going well. Being consistent to me is much bigger than trying to rise up so fast. And life happens. I think one of the hardest things that I've encountered on my team is that life happens and people will just drop off. They let one thing make everything fall apart. And so you lose momentum that way when people just, have one no, or, somebody quit and now they're going to quit, just don't. There's just such a rainbow at the end of all of this, you guys. And you got to stick with it. And I think that the people that are in it for the long haul is who you want.
Right. When you guys, like I said, we didn't have like Facebook Lives, and we didn't have it was just harder, like, to just do things and connect with people. In the beginning, were you doing a lot of 3-way calls, messages?
Yes.
Like, was that huge for you guys to get that third-party credibility in?
We did a lot of locals too. And I love living room locals, you guys. I love the smaller atmosphere of that, because that's how we grew. When I blew up, we went to Kentucky after I saw that, my promoter was all in. I wasn't going with her till I saw her all in, and we had engaged with a lot of people over the phone. We had signed up a lot of promoters over the phone. There was no Zoom. There was no Facebooking or anything like that. We did use Conference Call HD a lot. And then when they had started promoting and they were getting through their VIPs, we set up a time to go there, and we did these small locals all over. And that's how we grew it in that state. And then we kept up with team calls and 3-way calls. We were on 3-way calls all the time. Dialing in that upline was huge, because, it was them telling the story. It took some of the pressure off of the individual. You didn't look like you were trying to sell them. You were just saying, you got to listen to this. And that's really how we grew it. It really is. And then of course, now the inception of all these wonderful things that we have been able to bridge the gap of distance and make it even easier for us. But I still go back to the basics of three-way calls and locals and talking with people. And there's something to be said about face-to-face. Zooms are great.
So you being in that long, like one of the questions I always like to ask somebody is how do you continue to grow your network? Because I'm going to be honest, like,
yes,
I started 10 years ago and I had like 100 Facebook friends. Like I did not understand social media. And it's just been probably like in the last couple years that I'm really starting to understand it better. But I've like built most of my business, like doing expos and events or out and about meeting people.
yeah.
And, I think that where a lot of people get stuck is they stop growing their network. They're not constantly adding to it. What kind of tips do you have as far as like keeping it so you're always like getting new people, you're getting in front of new people somehow besides like locals?
Well, I know that with Facebook groups, you don't want to go into groups and like, try and sell, but getting involved in some of those, you're going to be able to get more followers. Being more mindful about what are you passionate about. It might not be your business, but are there things that you're involved in your life that you've got groups? And of course, I've really had my team diving in, and I've done a lot of education, and not that I'm any means great at this yet, but I've really been diving in now, because you're not going to get people by just a post. You have to be innovative, and you have to think outside the box in how you're going to grab more people. So I've been diving in some of these Instagram things, but I've actually been checking out some different local things at colleges and, their career services and different job fair opportunities. I mean, there's just so many cool things that you can do to like get out there. Now, bridal shows, I mean, we've done some bridal shows, but we weren't probably armed with so many great things to hit up the bridal show. But right now, guys, Sculpt and CBD skincare and the hair care, any bride is going to bring their mom, their bridesmaids to these things, and they're looking to look good, and they're looking for results, and what do we offer? And then they're also, if you've got a mother of the bride, my daughter got married 2 years ago, and it's not cheap. You got a mother of the bride coming with them, and you have the opportunity for that mother of the bride to look good and maybe make some extra money for this. I mean, I really encourage my team to just constantly be looking for events like that, and how we hand out the credits. Are you giving your customer 50 credits, or you're arming them with 50 credits to give to somebody else so they can get their 2 people for free? That system, if utilizing that system and really capitalizing at that, I harp on my team. Don't just give that to one person. Give them if you teach them to fish, they're going to have eat for days, right? Instead of just giving them 50 credits to go for that one order. How about 50 credits to get 2 people so that they're going to get $200 in credits every month? Embracing that. We've been focusing a lot on that, and focusing on that when we have our local events too. That
is an awesome tip. And it drives me nuts when people aren't using those credits for, and buy your product, but utilize those credits, because it could be $25 off, and it's like a huge deal for people. They just want that little bit of an incentive, and how you're helping your customers thrive free by doing that.
Yeah, and it gets you into their network, right? Now they can get it free. Don't feel bad about offering, telling somebody, do you know 2 friends? They have the same opportunity as you. You're not like taking their money. It's like a mind thing for people. They got to remove that from their thought process. And I got to tell you, when we first started 5 years ago, we didn't do the credits like that. We were ignorant of that. We didn't really understand that. That was something, if I could redo my business, I would have done way more of that. And placement, I don't know if, we were really ignorant of placement. Utilizing your placement to be really smart with motivating others, and being sure that you put people with the right people when you place, so that they lift each other up, and continue to utilize placement is a big deal too, to grow to the next level. Those were things I've learned along the way that I didn't know in the beginning or understand.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people miss out on that. Think about, who you would place someone with or how you want to build your
Yeah.
business. Yeah. It's so important okay. So let's say I'm in your inbox, I message you and I'm like, okay, Janelle, I'm ready. I want to sign up. I want to do this with you. Take me through kind of what you do with a brand new promoter in those first couple weeks.
Well, I'm locked arms with them, and I really don't add them to other groups. I'm part of my upline. Actually, we have a promoter training guide that I take snippets of it. So what I typically do with every one of those promoters is, we have the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, but I'm huge on that list. I want you to go and get 10 names. And then the first thing that I do is I sit down with them and I'm having them give me 10 names, 10 names of people that you can think of that would bail you out of jail, 10 names of people that you think, have a need for the products. Are they tired moms? Are they hardworking dads? Do they work in the oil field? That kind of thing. I jog their memory. And then I actually have them give me the names of the people and I ask why they thought of them. And I do have them, who did you think of for that would be really good on the business side? Because we have to find 2 promoters, 2 customers, 800 in sales, and then they hit those bonuses. And we just do that on repeat. So I really, really do push hard that that's what this is all about. We're just going to get you to your VIP and we're going to get the people below you to their VIP. And we're going to do this with reach outs and posts, purposeful posts. I'm really about purpose, and I'm really about when they're reaching out to people that they're hitting the hot buttons of the person that they're reaching out to. So I help with that. And I really do try to teach them how to do the 3-way call. And we have a Zoom event. We have an event where they're basically letting people know they're in business and they will dial into this Zoom and let me do it for you. I don't want them to be the ones to think that they have to sell it, so to speak. They're new, they're learning. What are they going to say? In the beginning, when I first started, all the people that maybe didn't have the best experience that I didn't follow up with, we've learned so much from that. So I want to be right with them and guide them. And it might be that I'm really locked arms for over 30 days, but that's what we do and that's what we teach. It's time invested in those people. And it's a lot of times in the beginning with that person, but you guys, they're ready to run then. They're leaders. That's what you want to do, is have somebody that grows into a leader that's going to duplicate what you did. And you basically franchised yourself with those leaders if you do it right. And that pay plan pays you for doing that. You get a team matching bonus for getting someone on your team to 200K. Embrace that.
I hope everybody just heard you loud and clear, because I think that is one of the biggest mistakes that people make when they sign somebody up, is they're literally just going, here's a team page, watch this video, plug into this bot, and that's it. I mean, and they're waiting for miracles to happen. You have got to literally take the hand of the person that you're signing and walk them through every single process. And
you do.
Right now with like technology, there is no excuse not to get right in front of that person face to face, so they can see your heart, your passion, so that you can grow that relationship with them, so that they feel comfortable coming to you, talking to you, and really sitting down and digging in, going, who do you know? Grab a pen and a piece of paper. Are you on that list? Because if you're not, you guys, you can tell them to do it, but they won't. And you got to realize most people, especially if they've never done anything like network marketing before, they're used to somebody their whole lives directing them, whether it was their parents, their teachers, to their boss, that they're used to direction. This is my business and I need to go do it thing is new to them. And you've got to be there to push them and, okay, go do this. When you're done, come back and tell me and I'll give you that next thing. You have to be there to do that. And I think that's why so many people miss their VIPs. Honestly, for that reason, and because you're signing them when it's just not their time. We're so desperate to sign people that we're signing people up that are not promoters. They are a customer. And we think that if we can just get them in, that a miracle is going to happen. And that's just not how this works. Which I wish people would realize that. It's just a miracle.
And you know what? You need to identify why they did hit the promoter button. What is it? Because you always hear if the why isn't strong enough, they won't push through. And that's really true. So sometimes you have to dig out of them. What is their why? And don't drag someone across the finish line, a finish line they don't want to be drug across. You got to know what they want out of it, so you know how to get them there. You know,
Oh my gosh, that's perfect. Like it's just so true. And I think because of what we want, we think everybody wants that. And that's just not the case. Not everybody wants to be a promoter. Not everybody wants to be part of the business. Not yet. You know what I mean? Some people, they need to get on the product first. They need to, you know, and why do we want to rush someone into signing when, you know, the first thing you ask them is, who do you know that would want this? And they tell you nobody.
Yeah, exactly.
I watch people literally go, okay, let's get you started. And I'm like, why would you get that person started when they just told you they know no one that would want this? Like, you're setting them up for failure. That always blows my mind.
It's true.
You talked a lot about, go ahead.
Sorry. Another thing I want to mention is, this is something that I've learned in just sales over the years, is I don't know if Lisa, if you've encountered this, but sometimes, you know, when people are excited, you need to be there for them when they're excited. You don't push that off either. I have team members that are like, oh yeah, I just didn't follow up yet. And it's like, you need to be with them when they're excited. You know, the heart does a lot for people. I mean, I don't want them jumping into something they don't want to do, but you gotta like be able to read people too. Don't you think, Lisa?
Oh my gosh, 100%. I always tell people, interview your person. And sometimes they look at me like I'm crazy. And I don't mean interview them like you're not going to sign them up. I mean, of course, we're going to sign anybody that insists on signing, but you're going to kind of figure out where their head's at. Like, do they have realistic expectations, or are they thinking this is a get rich quick scheme? Because if you ask somebody, you know, well, tell me how much money you want to make your first month, and they're telling you, well, I want to make 20 grand my first month. Yeah. Well, how much time are you willing to put in? 5 minutes? I mean, well, that's not going to happen. You're not being realistic. And so it's up to us. I always say we ruin our promoters. We either ruin them because we are making this sound way too easy, and they're coming in with unrealistic expectations, where if we just set people up the right way and say, look, this is going to be work. I don't know how fast or how slow you're going to go. It's going to take time, and you may go fast, you may go slow, but I know one thing: if you stick with it, we'll get somewhere. You've got to be on a plan that's a business plan, not a 5-minute plan. And that's why most people quit during those first 2 weeks, because all we do is focus on those bonuses so much. And if they don't miss it, if they miss them, they're thinking they suck at this. And bonuses aren't easy. They don't just hand you $660 in cash incentives and bonuses and make it easy. It's going to be something challenging, especially for somebody that is just getting started, if they didn't have a network. And that's why I always kind of like to talk about people's backgrounds, because sometimes they're looking at our middle and comparing it to their beginning. You had network marketing experience. Not only that, but you had just networking experience.
I did.
And you had people that already trusted you. So yes, of course you came in just like me. I came in and in 30 days went 200K. That didn't happen. I was building network for 6.5 years in order for, you're seeing a success in 30 days, an overnight success that took 6.5 years to actually happen. And so many people don't know the backstory, and they're always comparing their beginning to someone else's middle. You do not know how much time they're putting in, what their life is like, their story. You're comparing apples to oranges most of the time when you're comparing your journey to someone else's, because they're not you. Their personality is different, their network is different, their how they learn things is different. It's all different. So if we can all just get on that space where comparing, do you feel like you've done that over the last 5.5 years? Have you caught yourself comparing yourself to other people? Like, why the heck am I not?
Comparison is the death of it. It's awful. Don't do it. You just can't. And you just don't know what's gone on behind and what led up to it. You nailed it right there when you're saying, because even when I went into insurance sales, I used to get called on stage and people would say, well, how did you blow this up like you did? And I was like, well, I was in finance for 20 years before. So it was all in the making.
Right. Right. It just cracks me up how people literally get so down on themselves because they're looking at someone else. And until you can look at other people's journeys and get inspired by it and go, what are they doing? I need to figure that out, versus literally sometimes you're just not in a headspace. And you've talked a lot about mindset, and I'm telling you, you guys, if you can't be happy for someone, unfriend them. Like, if you're not in that space right now, that's okay. Then stop looking at their success. I get it. Like, sometimes it's hard to watch. Until you can get in that grateful space where you literally are looking at someone and going, man, how awesome for them. I cannot wait till that day that I get there and I want to pick their brain and see what they're doing. How can I be
Yeah.
more like that person? Or what are some things that I can do? And mindset, I think, and you're probably one of those people that knew about mindset before network marketing.
I did.
Because you kind of was in networking. I didn't. That was new to me. I was like, what do you mean mindset? I don't get this. Like, I just go to work, pay the bills, come home, go to bed. Like, no one had ever asked me, what are your goals? What are your dreams? How do you want to get there? Do you want to help other people? Those things weren't options until this business. And I always love to ask people, what do you do for your self-development? Do you have do you have things that you do daily that you stick to that keep your mind right?
I do, and I'm very much a multitasker because Lisa, I think you're a mom, you're a wife, and you've worked all that, you're a multitasker. So I have every morning that I'm getting ready, well, typically, for the first 30 minutes before I answer emails or before I do anything, I'm reading something that has to do with mindset, whatever it's going to be. There's been, oh my gosh, I could go on and on with different authors that have inspired me, of course, but I start out with, I'm Christian, so I start out with some biblical stuff too. And I start my 30 minutes with that before I hit getting on any social media that's going to mess with my brain and make me compare. I do that first. And then I might dive in. And when I'm getting ready in the morning, after I've popped out of the shower or working out, I have something like that on. So that's how I handle it. I'm not as good of a journaler. Like I would love to be a better journaler. I'm working on that. So I'm not that great at it, but I think it is super important to journal your thoughts in your month, because you get to look back and see where were you at, where was your headspace at the month before when maybe you didn't hit your goals. So you know what to shift and what to change. So, I've really been trying to teach my team to delve into some journaling, and but that's where I'm at. I start my day out with it, and I think it's important. Your first 30 minutes of your day will set your pace of your whole day.
Oh my gosh, I agree totally. I always tell people, if you get out of bed and stub your toe, and then you go to the bathroom and there's no toilet paper, then you go to brush your teeth and there's no toothpaste, like, you've already deemed that the worst day ever. And I promise you, the rest of that day is going to go like total shit. It will, because you've decided it to be so. But if you get out of bed and stub your toe, and then you go to the bathroom, there's no toilet paper, and you laugh it off, and then you go grab a journal and you start writing down your I ams and the things you're grateful for, watch you shift your day so quickly. Because I promise you that, you guys, if you're not shifting your day, it will go bad. And one bad day can turn into 10 bad days. It's just like kind of not working in your business. If I know people get so sick of hearing it. Every 200K that comes on this call, every week, I've done it since January, and they say the same thing. You've got to be consistent. And I know people are sick and tired of hearing that word, but it is the truth. You cannot get any place without consistency. And if you let one bad day turn into one bad week, turn into one bad month, you have now just gone a full month of not being consistent, of not planting seeds, of not growing your network. And then when you're doing this on and off, when you're like flighty with your business, first of all, that's not really running a business, right? Because if you owned a traditional business, you wouldn't go put the open on sign on the door one day, and then next week you don't put it on at all. And then that's just not how a business works. So if you're doing the same thing mentally here with your business, then the results are going to be exactly the same as it would if with any kind of business, right? People aren't going to show up. They're going to think you're not serious. They're going to think you're crazy. They're going to think, what, this person they're not running a good business, therefore I'm not going to show up. I don't want to buy anything from them. And it's the same attitude, but getting consistent in whatever way you can, whether that is, excuses always drive me crazy. Right now we're doing this swap group where people volunteered to be in like a challenge for 30 days. Basically, you're going to do something every single day for 30 days for your business. And it is amazing to me how already, people signed up for it, never even started. Like, but then they wonder, well, what are these things going on in my life? Well, I have these excuses. And I always tell people, whatever your excuses are, I can put somebody on right now, a call with you that has your excuses times 10, and they're still making it happen, because it's really a need, a want, setting excuses aside. I'm about to ask you a question that I ask everybody, and I know that there's like the typical answer. I always say, how do you keep your team motivated? Which I know you can't motivate people. Like, they have to be internally motivated. But what do you feel like you do personally that keeps your team motivated? Like, watching you.
Well, you got to show up yourself. I mean, really, are you, if you're, would you want to sponsor you, is kind of how I like to tell my team. Would you want to sponsor you? Are you doing what somebody would be like excited to say, oh my God, I have Lisa on my team, or I have Janel on my team. So you've got to kind of really think about that. I think keeping them motivated, I think my team really knows I care about them, and that I'm doing the do just like I expect them to do the do. I'm diving in. I don't take time off. I'm consistent. I'm always looking for something new to give them, to help them. I'm available. I'm there for them. And I think that's, my team has stuck with me through thick and thin. A lot of them have. And I think building the relationship with them and not making them feel like they were just numbers to me has made them stay through thick and thin when things weren't going good, where they knew that, I was going to be there for them to help pull them out of wherever they're at. But that I think is why my team has, I have people that have been there from the beginning that are still working hard and building their teams and see what I see. So I guess that's
right.
My answer there.
No, the only way to keep your team motivated is to work yourself. And it blows my mind when, you have team calls and you expect your team to get on them, but nobody sees your face. And I mean, it's like you cannot ask of other people what you're not doing. And it blows my mind. Like, I will look at this, like this call that I do on Tuesdays, and I look at the people that I know don't work, that aren't on here. I look at but those are the same people that are in my inbox complaining that their business isn't growing right now, or that they feel like, there is definitely a correlation between showing up and not showing up. Those that show up, I can look in my cloud office right now and go, wow, this person's growing. So is this one. So is this one. This person's maintaining. And I can see that because they show up. And then the ones that don't show up or isolate, and I think that's like a huge mistake too, is when like you isolate your team from other people, or your uplines or your downlines, or nope, it's just my way. And I think sometimes people,
yes.
isn't that the worst? Yeah, I had Billy Holder be on, and he was like, that's like the worst thing you can do is isolate your team. He said, I've never seen good come from that. And as many times as I can have leaders hear that, and I can say it, they will still do it. It's like we are gluttons for punishment. It's like we want to fail somewhere deep down, that we won't listen, because they say success leaves clues. How many 200Ks do you need to hear the same things from? And then we still continue to repeat the same mistakes over and over, or we refuse to listen. It's like, why are we trying to reinvent the wheel right now? Obviously, you got to 200K. There's something that you did was right. But yet people question it, or they don't try it, or they think their way is the better way.
Well, they think we were lucky.
Yes. That's always a good one. You're just lucky. Well, guess what? You can't get lucky if you're not out there doing the work, right? You can't run into the right people if you're not out there planting the seeds. So we have, with the new year coming and the bonuses that are out right now. And I mean, this company blows my mind. And because you've been in other companies. I was in another company too. And man, it was always the same thing over and over again. What I love with Lavelle is we never know what's coming. Like every month, there's a customer promotion, there's a promoter promotion, there's another, I mean, and they're always switching it up. And I think that people just don't understand how truly blessed we are to be with this comp plan. I mean, and just the way that Paul and Jason are constantly reinventing the company and just doing something new. We never know what's coming, and that's exciting, and it keeps our customers excited. From where you've been in 5.5 years to where you think we're going, you know, what's your excitement level? Like, what are you most excited about?
You guys, when they launched our CBD, the skincare, I'm going to be honest, at first I was bummed thinking, this isn't CBD, this is skincare. I did skincare before. I don't know that I want to do that again. And then when I found out, you know, why would I have ever doubted what they decided to launch? Because they know what they need to do to be edgy. And if you're going to join a company, you want a company who is always going to one up the competitor, right? That's what these guys did. And they did that with skincare. And I just thought, this is another head to the company. This is going to attract so many new people and so many new opportunities, even more business to business opportunities, because we aren't reined in by Lavelle saying this cannot be in a retail store. Some network marketing companies won't allow that to even be sitting out in a retail environment. And then, you know, now with Sculpt, what they launched with that is just crazy, because the fit line, you guys, has been something that I've really honed in on. I've really been aggressive about schools and athletic directors and gym owners and getting, you know, parents of athletes. That's something that I've really been focusing on, and now the Sculpt has brought it to another level. So that has excited me. What I am always amazed at, and I did a post on my team page about this, was there's a little gal in my town that is just resilient and working her business. And she's not in my business, and she's happy where she's at, but it's makeup. And she like is mind blown by these incentives that her company has put out. And she puts this on her story, and the incentives are, you guys, you know that you can make $399 in 90 days, stuff like that. We have gotten very spoiled to know, I mean, we can make how much in 90 days? We can make $200,000 bonus in 90 days for real. And Lisa, you would have hit that if you'd have had the re-rank. You'd have hit that in 1 month because you hit 200K. So I think people, we are a little bit spoiled and take for granted how much they give us. And I think that we don't talk about that enough, about we really are different. We are a cut above. We are edgy. We are all that. And I don't know that everybody recognizes that, because they've become accustomed to us getting all these perks. It's not normal.
It's not normal. And I don't think people understand, like, the grass, you know, we always think about, is the grass greener on the other side?
Yes.
You know, when you're in network marketing, you guys, suddenly you will be approached by every network marketer on the planet. Like, people are going to come to you and tell you their compensation plan's better. They just came out with the latest, greatest product. We're all going to say that. Every company that I've ever heard of in network marketing, I said it about my last company, and the comp plan was not that good. I mean, everybody says that, right? You can sell anybody. You can make anything sound amazing, but take it from some people that have actually been in other companies and looked at other compensation plans and know that what we do have here, the grass is not greener anywhere else. I mean, you're just not going to find it. And it's so crazy, because over the last 3 years, I've seen people come and go. Obviously, that's what they do. You know, people quit all the time, and they think it's going to be easier somewhere else. And it's crazy to me how many people, I lost a 200K, I lost a couple 80Ks, and they're now on to their third or fourth company.
Yeah, like, I never wanted to be that. Oh my goodness.
It's an eye opener.
It is. And, you know, I guess wish them well, but I don't understand it either. I don't understand it.
And one of them has told me, biggest mistake I ever made was leaving. You know, like, she feels like she can't come back now. And I'm like, well, that's just dumb. I mean, what are you going to do? Keep wandering around? Like, it's never too late. But can you imagine building that up and then thinking the grass is greener somewhere else? You guys are going to have people in your ear all the time. And you have got to understand that, you know, where you stay and where you grow and where you put in the time, you take you with you. Wherever you go, you take you with you. And so the same bad habits, the same non-consistency, the same comparison, I don't care where you go, you're going to do the same thing somewhere else. You need to decide to, you need to get planted and rooted here and work it like a business, and know that businesses take time, and know that, you've got to be on that, I always say 5 to 7 year plan where you are in it. Quitting isn't an option. You're going to learn, you're going to grow, and eventually you're going to make money. And that's the one thing that I can say. And you can probably say the same thing too, Janelle, because you've been in, here. When you look at the people that have stuck with you and have been with you for 5 years, are they all making some kind of money?
Oh my goodness.
All of them.
Yes.
The only people not making money are the ones that quit. I don't know where they are now, but the ones that stick with you, they do end up making money.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? I always tell people, somebody isn't going to see if you've stuck with it. If you don't stick with it, you've got people who are watching to see what it's doing for you, and to see if you're going to hop around. If you were full of bull when you were talking about it, stick with it. They're going to see it, because my, one of my personal trainers who has been on our leaderboard quite a bit for Lavelle, she has a personal trainer who just hopped on board that was approached by every single company, because of course people want them, that people are going to listen to their trainer. People, feel that trainers are the experts on the body, of course, naturally, and nutrition. And she said that she did a reach out, and this girl said, I've been watching you a year, been watching for a full year, and I'm ready. Because she didn't jump ship. She wasn't full of it. They're watching that, guys. Not everybody's going to jump right away. I wouldn't, if you would have approached me the year before, I would have told you no. I was happy in my business. I was a high earner in insurance. We weren't dealing with all these health issues. I was in the right place in my head when I was approached the year later. So if you're not following up with those people because they told you once, if I can give you a good bit of advice, do you leave the door open for another follow-up when you follow up with somebody in the beginning? You need to be saying, I understand this might not be the right time for you right now. Do you mind? Our company is always offering new things. They shake it up. If I kept you on a, updating you on a monthly basis, you could say 3-month basis for somebody. If I kept you in the loop of that, would that be all right? Well, now you've asked for permission. You don't look pushy, and you won't be afraid to send that out, because there's just something in here that really wants permission from people, and to know that we're not overwhelming them. And that person's going to appreciate it, and they're going to more than likely say yes to that. So that's a tip, a bit of advice. Maybe you all already do that already, but
I love that. That is perfect. I always ask people, because it takes you out of that place of feeling like you're bugging them. And people are nosy. I've never had anyone say, no, take me off your list. They're always like, no, let me know. I just don't have the money right now. Or they're like Snoopy. They kind of want to know. So I love that. I love that so much. Well, we actually get paid in a minute. And I always say that Tuesdays we get paid twice with this call and your amazing information that you gave us today, and just hearing your story. And you guys, everybody's story is different. Everybody has, but if you listen, that's what I love about this call. You're going to hear a lot of the same things over and over. And I hope when you guys listen to these calls, what you're getting is, if Janelle's saying it, if I'm saying it, if the last 5 200Ks I've interviewed have said it, maybe it's time to start doing it. Maybe it's time to actually, okay, I need to do it this way. I need to stop doing it my way, and I need to do it this way. And it's amazing what can happen when you actually, get over yourself. That's what I like to say, and actually do it someone else.
Get out of your own way.
Yes. Why are we always in our own way? Janelle, I just want to thank you so, so much for hopping on with us, spending the last hour with us. And I always say, I'm just so grateful for this company. And that's the other thing, I was with another company for 6.5 years who there was no way anyone was going to do a call with me that was a sideline, that wasn't making money off my team. Like, every person this year that I've asked to be on this call, doesn't matter whose team they are, they've said yes. That's the kind of company you want to be a part of, and I think it's the culture that Paul and Jason create. It starts up top, and everybody really just wants to be a part of helping someone out. And I appreciate you for taking time out of your day. And I'll have the recording for this that I can give to you too, Janelle, if you want to.
Yeah, I'd love it. Learn from you
Yeah.
too. I might call you to do this for me.
I was just going to say, if you need anything, I am here. I'm your girl. Thank you so much for hopping on today. And you
Thanks
guys,
for inviting me.
Thank all of you guys that got on today and poured into yourself. Like I said, there's nothing more important than self-development. And this is another way to get that self-development and pour into yourselves, as this call every single Tuesday at noon Eastern. We just got paid. So what I hope you guys all do today is I hope you go make that awesome post about your paycheck. You guys don't realize you do not have to make $1 million to make an effect in somebody's life or to catch somebody's attention. It's the posts I make about groceries in my fridge, or this week's paycheck paid for gas for a week. Those are the posts that people look at. You know, those are the posts that they're like, man, I want that. I want this extra cash. So utilize whatever your paycheck is today in this time of year, whether you're down or up. Be grateful, because you definitely are farther than when you started. And exciting things are yet to come. I'm so excited about the new year. We have a full schedule. I've got till the end of this year already booked out with 200Ks that you have not heard from yet before. And you're going to want to make sure that you put this call on your schedule. So thank you guys for hopping on today. Thanks for your time. Thank you again, Janelle. You were amazing. And we will see you guys next week.